Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this Tuesday talk. And my name is Sarah, connecting from Cambridge today. And we're going to be sharing on a subject that's really close to my heart. And I'm very happy to welcome special guests from different countries to explore it. This is an exploration together, so you're very welcome to participate in the chat. And also, if you're comfortable to come into camera, it will feel like we are as if meeting in this virtual space, and it would be very nice to do that. And it'd be lovely. Yeah, say where you're joining from. We can get a feeling of where you all are. Would be really, really nice. And yes, it's an interactive exploration together on this subject of a sense of belonging. And I'd like to share a couple of quotes that came up on this reflection. The essential dilemma of my life is between my deep desire to belong and my suspicion of belonging. This was an American author, Jhumpa Lahiri. And another one, this is Brian Chesky, a US businessman, who said, belonging has always been a fundamental driver of humankind. And it would be interesting to reflect on our own experience of in our lives, how we are driven to want to belong, maybe to at work, or it could be in our culture that we're living in, and we may be born in a culture and find it difficult to get that sense of belonging. But if we have it, we are apparently increased in our resilience, motivation, and self-esteem if we can achieve sense of belonging. So to explore this subject, I'm going to bring in Steiner, and also we have with us Isnel, and I'll just introduce, you're on spotlight now. And so we have Isnel, who's joining originally from France, but currently based in Geneva. And she's a meditator who came across the teachings of Brahma Kumaris in 1993, when she was actually in the countryside of Southwest France. We may not or may hear the story today, but it's a very beautiful way that she came across the ideas of meditation. And Steiner is originally from Iceland, but connecting today from Bologna, and came across Brahma Kumaris in 2006 with her partner, and living in the meditation center in Bologna. So it's a really great privilege and pleasure to welcome you both. And this is a conversation to explore together this subject. So maybe should we start with Steiner? It would be lovely to hear your thoughts that come up on this topic, if you would like to share.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sound is very good.
Great. I've been thinking about this topic now for some time, and I've been having a little bit of positive and negative sides to it. And what I started to think about what do I feel I can belong to? And there was a whole long list, actually. I mean, I can feel belonging to a country, a nation, or a city, or a neighborhood, or a house. And then I can feel I belong to a religion, or a culture, or a political party, or an ideal, or an opinion. I can feel that I belong to people, my family and colleagues at work, and friends and schoolmates, and all kinds of groups of people. Or I can feel I belong to sports and some kind of a sport or a hobby. And I go with, I don't know the word for it, when in the sports event, there are the very strong, can you help me? Those who
Like
like this.
Yeah, fever pitch they get at the football ground.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to just to watch and observe those who are very strong in their sense of belonging to a football team, let's say. They go on the match and 10,000 people are there, 5,000 from their party and the other 5,000 from the other party. And when their party makes a goal, maybe they end up hugging someone they never saw before, and they feel family. And the match is over and they meet at the bar or whatever, and they don't even remember who they are, the two of them. So I was thinking, connecting with all of this, the list is of course longer than this. What is it that makes me feel I belong? And so if I think of the hobby and the sport, the football watcher, not the player, well also the player probably, there is an objective in common. So we have something in common and we want to reach somewhere. But in more general terms, I think that when there is something similar, when there is something in common, there are similarities, then it's probably easy to build a sense of belonging. But as I was thinking about all of this, I started to say to myself, but what are the pros and what are the contra? Pros and cons?
Pros and cons, yes.
Yeah. So there are, good things that come out of it. I can feel protected. I feel a part of a group. I feel not alone. There is a sense of belonging. Okay, that's what we're talking about. But there is a sense of a wholeness, and you're part of something and someone. But then in my group, we tend to think this way, and in your group, you think the other way. And so the division comes in. And if I one day wake up and change my mind and have a different opinion, and I might be excluded or feel that I don't belong anymore. And that can also be very painful as an experience. So I was just thinking, how can I bypass the cons and remain in the pros, and maybe reach a neutral stage where I can feel I belong to everyone, no matter where they're from, no matter what language they speak, or maybe the color of their skin, or whatever it is that external or limited that makes me feel I belong. So how can I go beyond that?
Yeah, that's interesting how we often are unified because of a common enemy even, or it could be a cause, but that is a limited aspect, and it may finish, and then what happens after that. So what is it that for you helps you in your own experience? Because obviously you've come from one culture, and there probably is a lot of differences in the culture that you were brought up in, and now you're in Italy, and so you're probably first at least very aware of the differences. So how did you get to that stage where you have this aspirational experience of belonging to everyone? Is that something that you feel you've achieved or you're working on, coming from one very different culture into where you're living now?
For the main parts, yeah, I feel I've reached there. But I remember, like in the beginning when I first came, I was 16 and I came here for 1 year, and it was, the famous cultural shock. didn't speak the language, didn't know anyone. I just came for 1 year for an experience at school. But I remember there was one particular thing, one thought actually only, that kind of became an anchor that I would hold on to for that whole year, because I felt lost and I felt that everyone was a stranger and I didn't understand what they were saying, and the way they would speak, it felt like they were angry, and so I was afraid. So many differences. And but I remember I was walking one day in the village I was staying in, and alone. Anyway, I didn't know anyone, and I just noticed the sun that was shining, and I just thought to myself, and I said, you know what, this is the same sun as I used to see in Iceland, and so I am the same one that used to walk on the streets there under the same sun. And I don't know, something just with that simple kind of realization or thought made a big shift for me. I didn't feel alone anymore, and I felt like part of it, part of life, or part of those who stay under the sun. And I didn't feel far away or anything, because I was anyway. I always had been, under the sun. And then there was another incident when I moved here more permanently. And well, the first years, so many bureaucracy. Italy is, I think it's the king or the kingdom of bureaucracy, maybe together with France, I don't know. But very different systems and way of working through things and all that. And there was a guy I was studying with from Switzerland who had been through the same bureaucratic, papers and documents as me. And he just said to me, because I was starting to become very frustrated and very kind of, I didn't like anyone, and I felt like not part of being under the sun, but I really felt, of course, superior to everyone, because I knew better how things should have been done. But he said to me that, and it always stayed with me, he said, okay, you have a choice. You can either cry and then you will go home eventually, or you can just smile. So, and he said, I chose to smile and I'm still here. So if you want, when you go to those places, just do that and you will go through it. And it worked. So I think just to, and then after that, to continue to, or start to see what we have in common as human beings. And yeah, that has helped me, that we actually do have so much in common and so much more than the differences between us.
I think we can all relate to what you're saying, and it's very practical. It's like just that shift of mindset, and yeah, we have a choice how it react, but then it opens up a space to be able to choose and start to focus on the commonality, and then it sounds like you're well settled, so it's inspiring. It would be lovely to hear from Isnel your initial thoughts on this subject, and also you have a similar story. I think you're in a different country, culture, but maybe more similar, I'm not sure. But what has come up for you on this exploration of sense of belonging?
Good evening, Sarah, and good evening, Steina. It's very nice to meet all of you. So it's really a nice subject. When I get the invitation, I had some stress. I have a bit to say all time yes, because if invitation come in front of me is because I am able to manage in English. But I was a little bit stressed. But when I saw the subject, I say, wow, wonderful. Because I think it is one of the most beautiful subjects that we can speak about. The feeling of belonging. It touched my heart so deeply Because I think it's the foundation of our life, the foundation of our relation, because in the human system, I think we can survive alone. We can't survive without being in the group, without have some common point with someone else. I think it's like a mirror, do you know? We need to see in the other one the mirror of our own story, of our own beliefs, in our own culture. So I think at the psychologist level, it's so important to belong to something, to belong to someone, to belong to some concept. And when I thought about this subject, some ideas emerged in my mind. I imagine it's same in UK, same in Italy or in other places, because I can see that in Switzerland, in France, a word comes very often in the media: discrimination. People feel very easily discriminated. By their color, by their social condition. For many reasons, people suffer of discrimination, and they fight for their recognition, to finish with, and every event is an opportunity to point the discrimination. And so why do we feel so much discrimination in our life? I think there is only one reason. There is no love today. There is no love in our heart, in the society. And so I think it's important to stop to focalize on discrimination, but how can I create a link with others? I don't know who said that, but I read recently something very beautiful. I don't know at all who said that, but doesn't matter. But the person said, stop to compare the best in yourself, in the worst of other one, and the best in the other one, and the worst in yourself. And so, because when we act like that, to compare the best or the worst in myself with other one, immediately there's some discrimination or some feeling of rejection or superiority or inferiority. And so when I am in this state of mind, I can't accept to be in a group. I can't adhere to one project in the group. And so I think I'm independent, I think I'm free, but at the end of the day, I'm very alone. And because I don't have a true connection and exchange with people. So I think today we really need to work on love. How much do I love others? And I have a nice experience to share, is only since 2 weeks. Now I work for 8 years with one person. I never see someone have so much anger than this person. Honestly, if I didn't have been a woman, even with practicing meditation, I think I would. Is someone who create conflict all the time, who speak very, very high. And I don't know what happened, but 2 weeks ago, after so many years of battle with this person, I think for 1 second, I think I could be in her shoes, to just understand why this person is all time to criticize people, to speak low, very high to people, to complain about these people. And since 2 weeks, doesn't matter what this person does, how she can speak, I accept everything, and now I love. And someone else said, but yes, look at, he speak very high. I said, no, but now I love. I should work 8 years to just to understand this person needs recognition, this person needs love, so no need to battle with her, just accept her how she is. One colleague battle with him, many people, no need to do any more this reputation in Geneva. His reputation is done. So very strong personality. But now, whatever it happens, I love this person. So I think when we have love, we can erase difference. We can erase pain. We can erase the personality of others because we understand. We have been in their shoes for a few minutes, and now we can understand why they are like that. And so we accept. Doesn't matter what happens, it's just a game. This person is like a child, and a child, he can do what he wants. The mother will forgive all the time. So it was a very nice experience who showed me just when I have love, when I stop to judge the person, to think why this person is like that, why he tells that, why he speaks me like that. Now I'm completely free, and really I have good feeling for this person. So I think we don't need to wait for perfection. We don't need to wait for the person to do what we want, but just accept the differences, accept the uncomfort, and people will feel accepted from myself. And they will feel some feelings of security. And today, what people need? Security. They need, I think, security and love. And if I have the skills to offer to the people, love and security, I think in the evening I can go to my bed with a clean awareness. I have done what I needed to do today. And with what I want and what I do, there is no difference. And I think it's what we have to do as a yogi today.
It gives a very clear aim, doesn't it? This yogi view. And this, you reminded me, there's a quote in English, probably similar in French: before you criticize a man, walk a mile in his shoes. But in addition to that is, then when you do criticize him, you'll be a mile away and have his shoes. So he won't be able to hear you. That part is a joke. But I really like this. You were talking about security and love. It is like our attitude can change when we have that strength. It would be nice to hear, you mentioned at the end there about yogi. What is it, maybe it's in your meditation practice, that you feel is essential to be able to first connect with one's own security, to be able to have this power to accept and manage this perhaps discomfort that comes up when in these kind of situations, which create a disharmony? Is the question clear? So what is it that that helps you to access that security and love from within?
I think for this person, it happens suddenly after 8 years of battles where I have taken a lot of sorrow, because this person, he has a reaction with the people who are not from the same nationality, and especially with women. So I have all the criteria to be in the bad position. I think, we can't arrive to our destination in 1 second. Every day we need to put one drop or one step to build the castle. We just can't say, yes, I have a meditation, I have a reflection, and the situation changes. I think some roots in ourselves are so deep. We need to work maybe 1 year, 10 years, 20 years. And I think the main obstacle is to lose hope. lose hope, because something can be easy for someone else will be very difficult for me, and something will be easy for me will be difficult for someone else. So firstly, I don't have to compare with other one. My story is mine, and I have my own challenges. I think we need the patience. We need the patience, and we need the trust. You know, when I told before, I never say no. So when I get this invitation, I said, okay, you can't tell no, because the invitation comes, so they think that you are able to do that in English. I think we have to be very open, very flexible, accept everything in front of us as a gift, and everything as a meaning, and everything as a reason. I remember I had a very difficult relation with someone for many years. And in fact, after all these years, I realized how it was very beneficial, because I was like blind in some aspect. And in fact, the life put me in this situation to allow me to open my eyes. And if I never had been through this situation, I would never open my eyes. So I think what is important for security feeling, everything is perfect. Everything, even if I don't understand today the reason, there is all time a reason, all time. And I never have to think the life is bad with me. Maybe I can go to very, very difficult time, but the life wants to show me something. The life wants to help me to become a very special person. Because if we look at all the wise person in this world, we know all our senior yogi, but we know someone like Gandhi, someone like Nelson Mandela. They went through so much troubles, and they could become an example for billions of people because they went through all of that. If I just stay in my seat and I meditate, okay, it's good, but I can't become a great person, a great spirit. I just need to face many situations to become very strong. And so when I understand the law of life, I feel secure, because I'm just a point of light. I'm a spiritual being beyond the physical aspect.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to hear others' experiences, but this feeling that sometimes we are pushed by the way that our life goes to really go deep within, and sometimes it can be being ostracized, or it can be this external resistance because of culture or because of our gender, and it makes us go to our reservoir inside to in a way, you mentioned it's like taking responsibility for how I feel. And so it would be interesting to hear what comes up for Steiner on this, like anything come up, and how do you, the question that's come in the chat, is there a method to fill ourselves with this security so we can manage what comes up in our lives? Because for many people, they may be kind of running on empty, and they may want to have that, give that love and belonging, but they may not have that within themselves for themselves. So it'd be interesting to hear what comes up for you on this discussion.
Regarding the security feeling, I was just remembering an incident that I experienced a few years back, over 10 years. I was in a situation, I was living in my flat and had no job, but had all the bills to pay, and my savings were about to finish. And so I started to of course, have many thoughts about it. And the feeling was, okay, I need to organize. I need to, sort this out. And in a new country, and in a situation where I didn't have all the connections that I'm used to, maybe in my own country, if you can say. And before I started to spin, which would have been maybe the normal for me, spin in worries and fear, and oh my God, what will happen? And if I can't pay the rent, then what? And it was really kind of a magic. And as Isnel was saying, like life is like a mother, and that was kind of the feeling. Life is the mother and God is my father. And so I have two incredible parents who will take care of me. And I'm saying this because the experience I had in that kind of dramatic situation could have become dramatic. I just sat down because I had already started to meditate by then. Sat down in meditation and decided just leave it and go and have an experience. I don't know who online has done the Raja Yoga course, but during the course we learn that as souls we come from the world of light, and as souls we are indestructible and we cannot die, and nothing can really happen to the being. We are like eternal, if you can say. So I was just sitting down and taking my mind and my attention in that dimension of light, where I felt, and probably this was one of the first times I felt completely secure. The feeling was that nothing can happen. Everything will be okay. And I felt kind of surrounded by the light, and I felt embraced by God, and I felt incorporeal, as if I didn't really belong here. I belonged there, but as I was down here playing my parts, I better put myself together and restabilize in order to be able to play as good as I can. So I had this very powerful experience of just being safe, and everything will be just perfect. And the gift in all of this was that no doubts came in, and all the worries just went out of the window. And I think it must have been maybe 2 days later, someone unknown called me and offered me a job. It was like magical, and I see it now as a gift from somewhere, just to show me that everything is okay, everything will be okay. And regarding the security feeling, okay, that was a gift. And I've had some gifts like that, similar, but maybe not as strong. But after this, the feeling that life is my mother, I feel very strong the need and the importance to nurture that feeling. And so when I feel loved by my mother, and I allow myself to be loved by, sometimes we call it, the drama, or by life. And I also play in symphony with life. And okay, there are things that come up that are difficult, but a good mother also gives you a lesson, gives you lessons. So the feeling that I'm protected, and as a child of very two fantastic parents, I also behave as one, as a good child, So I also take care of my steps, that they are in line with the laws of life.
in the language you talk about Mother Nature, and yes, it's really reminding me when I first came to the center, where I came to these ideas was in Cambodia, in the capital, in Phnom Penh. And I was really looking to belong. I was looking for my own roots, which are like two different cultures, very, very different. And I could never feel complete. I could never feel I really belonged anywhere. And no one could actually help, because they just sort of feed your story, if you like, of, oh, you should write a book. That sounds interesting, but it doesn't help you with your feeling. But when you mentioned this meditation of really not belonging here, but belonging to this spiritual home, it was the same very powerful thing for me, because I realized my roots are not here. You can be from one country or another. The country can change, even if we don't have political issues, just maybe 90 years. It's a different kind of country. Everything is changing, but sense of the self, which is beyond that and complete and secure, it was so helpful in order to, from that position. So it sounds like a very very fascinating how it moved you forward, and then things happened to help with that journey. It would be interesting to see what comes up for Isnel on this topic, and if you had any experience which has given you this feeling of not needing to belong to any particular country or place or people. Or
yes, because like Steina, in fact, I'm not from the same country. I don't have, I think we are all the same human beings. We have all in common love, peace, happiness, and after it's just the culture, which decoration we put around. And it's clear if I stay on the surface, I will see only the difference with others. Some are Muslims, some are Catholics, some are Buddhists, but in fact, all religions have the same message. We are brothers and sisters. We are all the child of God, and for me, it's very clear. We are all from the same family, and if I really understand that, there are no difference. It's just the one will put more sugar in, or more salt, or more spice, or don't speak the same language. But in Switzerland, it's a very small country, but we have 4 languages. So it's interesting because during our meeting, we can speak in French, in German, in English, mostly it's in English. And some yogi, we don't have the same common language. So I never speak with them, never. But just by the eyes. And I just think especially about one. I know we have a lot of love for each one, but we never could speak because one have a Swiss German and I speak French. And but doesn't matter. I don't know if you have had the opportunity to participate to silent retreat. I remember in Italy, I went to a silent retreat a long time ago. And in fact, we just realized we can speak with eyes. And after 1 week, everyone had the same feeling. We didn't speak, but we really had the feeling to communicate and to understand and know all of us. And I think it's very important to go deeply inside. And I want just to add something about what Steina said. It remember one story has been shared. It was with, for those who know, Daddy Gulzar. And someone asked her, but does God speak to the yogi? And he said no. because it was someone who was in New York during the attack in the tour, and this person had been protected, and this person had some kind of intuition, and she had been saved. And in fact, it's something very important for me to create a connection with myself, with others, feeling of security, feeling of belonging. And she said, but God speaks to everyone, but not everyone is able to listen. And before to start meditation, I spoke with a priest, and it was the first person who explained the difference between prayer and meditation. And I think if I want to have the feeling to be connected, to be secure, to belong to somewhere, I just need to be connected with myself, who I am, where I belong. So I'm not Swiss, I'm not French, I'm just a human being somewhere on the earth, but it's the same soul for everyone. And when I have this vision, I can accept all the differences about everything. And people will feel very secure with myself if I'm able to have this kind of vision. No judgment about anything. Because I don't know all my story, I don't know the story of this person, why this person is here, and who I am to judge this person, to judge this situation. I don't know if I replied to your question, but it was my feeling of the moment.
It's a beautiful answer that, in a way, it's a reference point that we see in the major traditions of brotherhood, and it is in our own vision, I think, of having no differences, that we give others the feeling of belonging. And this experience of silence, I'm sure we've all had that, when we just stay in silence with people even a few hours, there's a companionship actually. So, but if my vision is within that silent language, I guess we can communicate through, if it's my genuine experience, it should come out. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, like a meditation reflection. And I don't know if Steiner had opportunity to join. I think in Italy, the retreat place is famous for these silent retreats. So I'm sure you've had experiences. We have a question come up in the chat. It seems belonging is a natural state for human beings. So why is there so much lack of this feeling in the world at this time? I don't know if Steiner wants to pick that one up.
Yeah. The first thing that comes up, actually, I was thinking probably while Ricardo was writing this question. There was some years back, I was in a retreat, and I had a lot of time for myself and actually no agenda. And there were some things within myself that I wanted to figure out and understand better and you know, sort out and let go of, connected with physical non-well-being. But I knew that there was something within the soul that wasn't okay, and that came out physically as a not a disease, but uneasiness, not unease. So what I did, I took a few days for it, and I just sat and was journaling and trying to trace back what the emotions were connected with this feeling of this. It was headache, actually. I was trying to get rid of what the feelings were behind it and why would I have those feelings. So I was just interviewing myself, writing all of it, and just trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And between sessions of writing and journaling, I would sit and meditate and give it to the Supreme and talk to him about it and ask him if he would make a surgery on me. And so I was kind of making it interactive and interesting for me so that I would continue and try and sort it out. And I found out what it was, what the emotion was that I needed to let go of. And I found the substitute for it. So I found the negative aspect and I found the positive one that I wanted to bring more in. And it was really a powerful experience and an eye-opener for me that there was this red thread in my life, an emotion that was kind of doing so much damage, even physically, on me. And when I came back home from this, I mean, it was really like something very important for me to realize. And I think I did even sort it out, kind of 90%. And when I came back home, I was so, enthusiastic, and I felt I had like conquered the whole world because of it. And I felt really a winner. And I decided that I wanted to share some aspects of it with a group of people here in Bologna. And we talked about those emotions, and I went through the whole process. And the fact was that everybody knew exactly what I was talking about. And everybody in the group had been through exactly the same things. So my conclusion in that, okay, I did sort my problem, my personal problem, but my conclusion, or maybe the biggest realization, is that we are all going through the same things. And we are all, on the same boat, kind of. So I think that is an important key in order to feel, can you still hear me? Yeah. In order to feel belonging to each other, it's so important to understand yourself and be in good contact with yourself and listen and talk and dialogue with your own self. Because the more I understand myself, the more I'm able to understand others, because we are so similar. And so I think the first main step is a good relationship with the self, interest towards my own self, and to understand myself better.
Yeah, it is like this fascinating thing, and it was also written in the chat that we do belong, but maybe at this level of the physical world we have an amazing diversity, but it's at a very if we want to call it, you mentioned drama, we call this physical world like a stage. Shakespeare's all the world is a stage. You have the villain and you've got the holy part, and you've got all the variety of roles, like the Cinderella story. But behind the actors are, there's a commonality in the actors, so that actually we're all experiencing a similar engagement with this drama. So I like this model. It seems to help. And losing connection with that primary world, where we feel security, not because the Cinderella story is going really, really well, but something a bit deeper behind. So it's nice to hear your process and how it will sound like a surprise in a way that others are going through it. So it's quite revealing. That. So let's hear from Isnel what comes up on this question. Why is there such a sense of not belonging if we do all share a common reality, a primary space? Is there anything you would like to add? Final sharing.
Of why we don't feel belonging feeling?
Yes, if this should be a common experience, that we all want it, if we say that we're like brothers, and you mentioned that commonality in religions, but what is it that you feel is blocking or stopping this? or prohibiting?
Yes, as Stena said, I think it's so important to have a good relation with the self, because most of the time, because I'm not able to see my own weaknesses, I will see in the other one. So I will be disturbed, but because the other one is just a mirror of myself. So when I know myself, when I accept myself, when I listen my awareness, my consciousness, I think everything will be easier with the other one, because I come from countryside, and actually I'm here for this week in the south of France. And what I can see, most of the time, we don't like people that we don't know. We don't like people because we don't know them. So we make a projection, we imagine things, we interpret, we make a lot of projection. And in fact, when we know people, in fact, we love them. And I think it's so important to be flexible inside, to be free from judgment and to be open to the difference. And it's something I shared today. I have some good friends who have all the criteria for discrimination, and most of the time I have good relation with this kind of the people because they have been excluded for their color of skin or for other reason. And these people are excluded, criticizing, and in fact, I can have a good relation with this kind of people because I accept them fully how they are. And what I can see when I accept fully people how they are, they open their heart and they give you everything, everything. Because they just need recognition and acceptance for what they are, but it's exactly what I need. I have my own default, my own weaknesses who gave me sorrow to myself. So if other one give me more sorrow about my own weaknesses, I can't have a good relation with people. I can't have the feeling of belonging. But if I feel that people love me, doesn't matter how I am, I connect with them because I feel the relation is true and authentic, is not false. There is not a relation because they expect something from myself.
It's coming to this like not needing anything aspect, isn't it? So if you don't need anything on anyone to be any different, it's like you start from that clean space, then you can be truly open. And that it's where the spiritual aspect, I think, really comes in. And you gave that like open, free from judgment, free from difference. It feels like this is the truth of the spirit, and that everything else is when we get into, as someone wrote in the chat, the ego or the false understanding of self is the only thing that creates this difference. Is this how does this resonate, Ismail? Is this how you meant in that sense? So nice. And it's such a beginning of a subject. I feel it's like planting seeds for as you were saying about acceptance, and also it's accepting the role, but seeing this truth and beauty of others in their real fullness. So it would be really nice if Steina, if you want to share any final thoughts, but also maybe lead us into some reflection to go into the experience of some of these ideas.
Yes, I think, well, maybe we can do it in a meditative mode.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Okay.
Meditation.
Yeah. So if we just sit very comfortably, as nicely as possible, and let our shoulders just relax and our back and everything. And bring the vision towards myself. And I just look within with the aim to see everything that's the most beautiful about me. The virtues, peace, love, joy. And I let go of everything else. I just want to focus on that we all have in common. The same place of belonging. A dimension of peace. Of light. And I just sit in this feeling of simply being. I am. I allow myself to be. And I allow everyone else to be. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, because it's like getting into the practical side, and this aspect that we have choices to take a position of premises of belonging. So I really appreciate this opportunity to share on this subject, and big thanks to Steiner and to Isnel, and for your time and journeyings. And feels like we could talk a lot more, so maybe we should have part 2 sometime, and also hear your experiments on furthering this, and for everyone else in the chat and all the participation. So we look forward to meeting you again. And I just want to share with everyone the next talk. We will be sharing the space with Yogesh in Turkey, and Matthias, I think, also from Switzerland. And the subject is the world within you. So it'll be really nice to start to reflect on this together, and look forward to connecting with you. So bye from here, and meet again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks to all.